Hardcore Horror with Mike and Bridget is a part of the Tennessee Horror Podcast Network.
That is hardcore.
This is hardcore shit.
But for me, it's harder and harder to resist.
Welcome to Hardcore Horror with Mike and Bridget. I am Bridget Byron, one of your horror hostesses. What's up, Mike?
Hey, not too much. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. I've been on vacation for a good 9 days now. I'm absolutely loving it. I'm staying in one of the most haunted cities in the United States, which would be Savannah, Georgia. Have you ever been here?
I have not, no.
Awesome. Well, it's great. Absolutely love it. It's my third time being here. And, you know, I love me some haunted places. So I'm staying at the Kehoe House.
Okay.
Right in the historic district. This is my second time staying here. It's a bed and breakfast. Definitely haunted. We're actually on one of the haunted tours in Savannah, and one of the historic tours that they do. So it's an awesome little place. Really good food. Had some kind of crazy experiences here. I could sit here and talk about it all night long, but
Yeah.
I won't get into that. But no, I absolutely love staying in haunted places. It's a lot of fun. So I'm just kind of wondering, since I'm staying here on vacation, you know I love going and staying at haunted places, and that's kind of my thing.
Mhm.
What about you? Have you ever stayed any place haunted?
Well, I mean, I don't really want to be all Mulder and Scully with you, but I'm not sure exactly how much I believe in that sort of stuff. I mean, have I ever really stayed in a place like that? No, I can't really say that I have. I did visit the Bell Witch Cave and that sort of stuff.
Bell Witch Cave in Adams, Tennessee, right?
Right. Yes.
Okay.
So that, that was about like 15 years ago. And the only weird thing that happened was that day I bought batteries for this camera to use to take some pictures there. And what it was is you go to there's like a cabin. It's a replica though. It's not the original cabin. You go to the replica, and then after that you go to the cave. So while I was in the cave and I was trying to take pictures, the battery died, even though I just bought them that day. So that was interesting. I had to turn the camera on and off again to take pictures. I did get some pictures, but it was just odd. So that was kind of strange. And then when we were leaving, there was like this little patch of fog rolling across the road. It was just very select area. It was a little strange. But as far as that sort of stuff, I don't know. I really don't feel like a lot of that stuff happens to me that much now. But honestly, though, there is a plethora of that sort of stuff from when I was younger, growing up. All kinds of stuff that my family used to talk about all the time. I feel like there was constantly ghost stories in my family going on. One of the things that my mom used to talk about is the place that we first lived after I was born. She said it was haunted. She said all kinds of crazy, weird things happened there. She said there was all kinds of voices and noises and all kinds of stuff, like even horses and all this weird stuff happening. Oh, and they would lock the doors at night and wake up in the morning and the doors would be unlocked and all these kind of weird things. And then for me, the only thing I know about that house, because I was too young, obviously, at that point, but it stayed in my family. And then years later, my dad and I were going to that house because my uncle lived there. On the way there, we passed my uncle, and we went to the house to wait for him, and he turned around. And while we were waiting for him, there's this loud banging, like a hammer inside the house. When my uncle gets back, we go inside the house, nobody in there. So there was all kinds of weird things like that. Other little places where, like, there was a place I used to live that had a well in front of it. They said somebody got murdered and thrown in the well. And I, when I was younger, I would hear little voices and stuff, and like just little noises and stuff that would pique my interest and make me think it was that sort of stuff. My grandmother, she had a sister. She said, when I die, if there's ever a chance I can come back, I will. And it was weird because after she died, that's when my grandmother started hearing all kinds of noises and seeing lights and all this sort of weird thing. And I didn't see any of that stuff, but I went to the back bedroom, and there's a bathroom there, and the door was half open, and even though there's no windows or any air circulation there, that thing just slammed shut on its own. So there are things that have happened when I was much younger that I did feel more privy to and that sort of stuff, but not too much when I got older. The only thing I can recall is like we were at a concert once coming back, and me and this guy that was driving, like there was like a green flashing light across the sky, and I saw it. I didn't say anything because wasn't sure if I just was hallucinating or something. But and the guy said, "Oh, did you see that?" So, but all in all, like I haven't had a lot of that sort of stuff now that I'm older. I haven't had a lot of that stuff now that I'm older. So I don't know. I'm not sure where I fit in with all that. To be honest.
Well, I think you just haven't had that experience, but once you have that experience, definitely all it takes is the one experience to change your mind.
Yeah.
It's kind of my thing. I'm not scared of ghosts at all.
Mm-hmm.
Even here. So the bed and breakfast that we're staying at was built in 1882. 1892. Oh man, I had the date wrong. 1892, excuse me. It was built in 1892 by William Kehoe, and he had 10 children. And there's all these stories about the children and kids passing away. Then the place turned into a funeral home for many, many, many years. And then a football player bought it, I think in 1980, I believe. Okay. And if you read the stories online, he was going to turn it into, quote, a disco. No, he was going to turn it into a gentleman's club.
Okay.
And he couldn't get a liquor license because Historic Savannah was like, no, they shut it down. They found out what he was going to do and they shut it down. But he did live here for a while and put a lot of money into it, and then ended up selling it. He bought it for $80,000 in 1980, and he sold it in 1989 for $350,000.
Wow.
So there's your fun fact for that. And then he sold it and they turned it into a bed and breakfast. But crazy history here. The funeral home, I'm like, oh, but no, I think you just need to go out and have an experience here. We stayed here last year and we had some crazy things happen. Nothing nothing too dramatic, but the craziest place I ever stayed was 1886 Crescent Hotel in Eureka Springs, Arkansas, which is it's America's most haunted hotel. It's known as America's most haunted hotel. I stayed there for 5 days, and I had more things happen to me there. It got so bad that I ended up changing rooms, actually. Yeah,
Wow.
we started off on the 3rd floor, and so many things were happening. I was like, I got to get out of this room. And I ended up changing rooms. That was crazy for me. If I told you everything that happened, we'd sit here and talk all night long. But we got to get you out and let you experience more of those things. You know?
Yeah. Maybe make me a believer there.
Yeah. You never know. You never know.
Right. Absolutely. I think right now I'm just too jaded because all I do is crank the horror movie, so I can't hear the ghosts. The horror movies drown out the ghosts, I think.
Man, sometimes I think they make me numb.
Yeah.
so sometimes people are like, "Oh my gosh, shit is so crazy." I'm like, dude, put me in a horror movie. I swear I could survive. Like, this is nothing. But it's almost my escape from reality.
Yeah.
And man, I read the most crazy article 2 days ago while I was here. I've been doing a lot of reading. I don't have time to do a lot of reading. One, I'm kind of ADHD and I'm a horror movie person. All I want to do is watch movies. But I've been doing a lot of reading here, and I read a crazy article about how horror movies helps you. It's actually good for you, and it helps you escape reality, and is better for you, And I don't know if I believe it. I'm like,
Sure.
dude, duh, absolutely. We live in a crazy ass world, so it is an escape from reality.
So I got a question for you.
Okay.
All right. So we talked about movies and stuff. So, but one thing we haven't really talked about, I wanted to ask you about your favorite, maybe not like top, but some of the favorite TV shows, horror TV shows that you like. Any of those that you have?
Man, I and I'll get to it in a minute. Um, I'm not a really big horror TV show fan, but and I'll get to in a minute. I'll get to it why, but a few of them, I will say that True Blood was probably one of my favorites. I did watch that one from the beginning to the end.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you could tell that it in the beginning it kind of sucked me in, and I think they might have changed some of the writers.
Yeah.
They kind of got a little out there, but I was committed to it, and I did watch it to the end. The Walking Dead.
Yeah.
I got all the way to about where Negan was involved. It was right after Glenn passed away.
Yeah. Well, a lot of people stopped there. I watched all of them. They're still going. This is their last season, but I mean, I did take some breaks in between because I mean, yeah, sometimes the storylines get a little repetitive with their whole fight zombies, then you find people, and then they turn bad, and you fight them, and that kind of thing. It does get sort of, but the Negan character I really liked, and so I stayed with it. I mean, that was a bleak, down and depressive sort of era of The Walking Dead, but I mean, it didn't last forever. But I think a lot of people, didn't want to follow through with it, and they left the show.
So a lot of people left. Okay, I heard that a lot of the other characters. Oh my gosh, I have one question.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously, I'm not watching the show anymore. I'm assuming that you are watching it.
Yeah, I've seen it all of them.
One thing I can say about TV shows is you do start to fall in love with characters.
Uh-huh. Okay.
I like Daryl.
Yeah.
Norman Reedus.
Yeah.
Is he still alive?
He's good. He's good. He's safe.
Oh, thank you, Jesus. I was like, it probably pissed a lot of people off
Yeah,
if he died off. Just saying.
He's safe. But matter of fact, I think they've already announced he's going to do a spinoff once, because they're announcing all these spinoffs now. Even though the show is ending, they're going to keep going with other stuff. So.
Well, yeah, it's a money making market, I guess.
Sure.
It's that's one with TV shows. It's me. I personally prefer movies over TV shows.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I feel like TV shows, to me, they're very time consuming.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and when you watch one, you get sucked into it, and then every night, what do you want to watch? Oh, you're going to watch that show. And then I miss out on a lot of the movies. So, I mean, and if you think about it, the storyline, in a slow burn movie moves faster than most fast paced TV shows. I mean, it's a time consuming thing.
Yeah. Well, I'm really glad that shows have now kind of adopted that sort of British formula of doing like 10 or 12 episodes. Because back in the day, it used to be 22, 24 episodes a season. And I just can't handle that stuff anymore.
Yeah. Who has time for that, right?
Right.
We live in a reality. We live in the world today where everything is so fast paced. But it really is. It's personal preference. And honestly, I think I do the binge watching. I do. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm like, oh, I binge watched this all weekend long. It's kind of bad for you, I think. I think you sit there and get so damn consumed in something, and then I'm like, oh my God, have I watched any good movies? No, I haven't, because I've been so damn consumed in this show, and it's the only thing you've been watching. It's for me, and it's for some people. That's just, it's personal preference. That's just, my opinion. And
right.
and if I watch a TV show for an entire season, only to be let down by the season finale, and then I feel like I've invested so much time just by disappointment.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the biggest thing. And that's the biggest things. I'll give you some examples. And it's just, again, it's just an opinion. And I hope it's not a spoiler for anyone, but these are older shows. But Dexter is a great example.
Mm-hmm.
I watched that religiously and I loved it.
Yeah.
But the farther I got there, True Blood's the same way. The farther I got into it, it just got more and more out there. Like, I mean, like you could tell different writers were involved. It just got out there. And the season finale, I was just like, oh my God, this sucked. This was terrible.
Yeah. Unfortunately,
you invested all this time into it and you're like, oh,
Yeah. Unfortunately, Dexter never had a good ending. So it didn't end good there, and it didn't end good with a new one either. So
have you seen that one?
Yeah, I watched all of it.
Oh, did you? So I really wanted to because I was such a huge fan of the original Dexter.
Mm-hmm.
But they brought it back because it was so big, and I was like, do I want to do it? Do I want to watch it? Do I want to watch it? And I haven't took the plunge yet. But you're telling me that, in your opinion, it was kind of the same. No go.
No, I mean the show itself is good. I like the show. I like the season. It was good, but
the ending.
But the ending, wasn't a fan. Wasn't a fan.
Yeah, no good. That's the worst.
Do you want to hear a few of these that I like or that I'm into?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. Well, so to harken back to when I was younger, I mean, there's all kinds of stuff that I watched, like the Munsters, even movie Macabre Elvira. I mean, it was movies, but it was still a show. Came on Saturday night, and then of course, the Friday the 13th, Tales from the Dark Side, Freddy's Nightmare stuff. I liked all that stuff when I was growing up. I mean, I don't know how invested I was with it. I think I just saw it when I saw it, that kind of stuff. Really, I wasn't like, oh my God, I got to watch it. The TV show that I loved, and you got to think though, back, 20 years ago even, there wasn't a lot of genre films, or I'm sorry, a lot of genre TV shows on. There wasn't.
Right.
It was a handful, and that was it. So there really wasn't a whole lot. So you really didn't have a lot to pick and choose from. Now it's totally different. I mean, it's just saturated with all kinds of shows I've never even seen, and will never see. But the one that I loved the most at that time, especially, was Buffy the Vampire Slayer and Angel. I loved those religiously. I thought those were just amazing. And even though those were 22 episodes, I loved them. I could have had more and more and more. I loved them. And those are like, I haven't revisited in a while, but because it's kind of this thing, is because there wasn't so many shows out there. I've seen those seasons like 3 or 4 times, as opposed to newer stuff, which I haven't seen that much. Dexter, with you, I love Dexter. I absolutely love 1 through 4. It's some of the best shows on television.
Oh my God, so damn good.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
Right.
After that, it started going downhill a little bit. True Blood, same too. The first couple of seasons were amazing. By the time I got to the end, I didn't care that it was going to end. Walking Dead, I don't care that it's going to end. I'm not hurt about it, that sort of stuff. Another one I loved was Penny Dreadful. Did you watch that?
Oh my God, yes. It's what's his name? Is it Sean West? No, what's his name?
Sean Connery.
Connery.
Yeah, and Ava Green. Yeah, and some other people I can't think of now, but yeah, love that. It only went on for 3 seasons. It was pretty short, short and sweet, and that was good. Another one that I really liked was Hannibal. I didn't think I was going to like Hannibal because I really obviously loved Anthony Hopkins as Hannibal Lecter, but I really liked Hannibal. It was a little artsy fartsy, I'll give it that. But especially got toward the end. The camera work is amazing. Soundtrack is great. But did you ever watch that one, Hannibal?
I watched the very first episode.
Mm-hmm.
Not gonna lie, was just hanging out with a friend, and it was like, hey, let's just watch something.
Yeah.
And that was what was put on. But I didn't really, I thought it was good, but I didn't really care to go home and watch the next episode. It didn't draw me in that much.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's dark. It gets really dark, and it really finds its place in the second season, and I think it went through three seasons as well. I liked it. Like I said, I didn't expect to like it at all, so but I did. The only really good show that I love right now. I mean, I like American Horror Story, but it kind of goes back and forth. I don't love it. Some seasons are much better than others. Obviously, some of the earlier ones are some of my favorites, but and of course, Masters of Horror. First season, I love that show. But the one I like now is What We Do in the Shadows. You watch any of that?
What We Do in the Shadows is about vampires.
It is about vampires. It's a comedy.
Okay, so I feel like I watched the I feel like I watched the first few episodes, but I think it was too out there for me.
Really? I think it's hilarious. I love it.
Well, I'm not gonna lie. I don't think I'm a dark person, but I don't even think I have a dry sense of humor, but I couldn't get the humor of it.
Yeah.
I just couldn't get into it. I just couldn't.
Yeah.
I just couldn't, but I've heard so much about it and so many people love it. But I'm sorry, it just wasn't for me.
Yeah, it's a lot of sarcastic stuff, that sort of stuff. But that's really what I really like. I mean, as far as dislikes, I mean, do you have any of those? I can't really think of anything I really dislike I mean, there's certain ones I've never seen. There's probably some I've watched a couple episodes of, but I don't know if there's anything I really hate. Supernatural, I did stop watching after season, like, I don't know, 10 or something. I don't know. I can't remember. Because it was just kind of like The Walking Dead, the same formula over and over, and kept getting repeating of it. I mean, I did really enjoy the first few seasons of it, but again, that's one of those things. It's 22 episodes and stuff. And it's just it was hard to keep up with it, you know?
I can't say that there's any horror TV shows that I hate.
Yeah.
I've never seen one that I hate because, I mean, even if it's not great, they still put a lot of damn time and a lot of effort, and you have to appreciate different aspects of it, but none that I can think that I absolutely hated. Did I ever want to watch another one? Maybe not, but you can't hate. There's none that I hate. I can't say that.
Right.
So.
All right. Well, that's all I've got of that. You want to go to what we've been watching?
Yeah.
All right.
So, what have you been watching lately?
I've got a list for you.
Well, I'd love to hear it. I'd love to hear it.
I'll run through them real quick. The first thing I watched was an anthology called Scare Us. It was okay, like an anthology, hit or miss. I wasn't thoroughly impressed with it, but it's about these people that are sitting around a library. I feel like this has already been done. I feel like a company in Kentucky did what's it called, Volumes of Blood or something. It's very similar to that in a way, but they're sitting around in the library telling stories, and then they're the wraparound and everything. The next thing I watched was I revisited The Dark and the Wicked after I suggested that to Joel in our last podcast. I went back to revisit The Dark and the Wicked. Have you seen this movie?
I don't think so.
I love this movie. I think you should watch it. Turn the lights off, be alone, crank it up, and watch that movie. It's on Shudder. I love it. I think it's great. I think it's the acting's fantastic, and it's got enough creepy shit in it. Next thing I watched was a revisit of The Storm of the Century. Have you seen this Stephen King miniseries? Came out. It's been a few years.
I haven't seen this one either. Do
you like any of that Stephen King miniseries sort of stuff?
I can't say that I don't think I've ever watched any. Sorry.
Okay, so
none of them. Sorry.
It's okay. You've never seen The Shining, the miniseries, or Rose Red,
not the miniseries. No.
Okay. Well, they're a little bit slower paced, and they are. Well, you've seen It though. You've seen It. That's a miniseries, technically.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. And they're all made for TV, so they kind of have a little bit of that sort of vibe to them. But Storm of the Century, I like. It's about this coastal town in Maine, of course. Hello, Stephen King. And but like the storm comes in, and then and all of a sudden this kind of evil guy with powers coming into this town, he kind of starts killing people at first, but then he tells the town, "Give me what I want, and I'll go away." And they don't know what it is yet until the very end, and they find out what it is. So I like it. I like that sort of stuff. You see a lot of
it's like one of Stephen King's movies that's like 4 or 5 hours long.
Yeah,
pretty much.
This one was how long was this? 3 episodes, so 3 hours, 4.5 hours, something like that.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Okay. Those are hard for me, and it's so funny because everyone knows that my thing is clowns. I love clowns. My character's a clown, and I was Pennywise. I'm so known as Pennywise. It was this thing that I did years ago, and I just kind of got known for it. But the original Stephen King Pennywise, what would be like what you're calling like the little short series, TV series.
Yep.
Oh my God, it was all I could do to sit through it. Oh my gosh. So I have a really hard time with Stephen King's Rose Red was the same way.
Yeah.
They're just so long. It's such a slow burn for me. It's hard. That's TV series. I have a hard time with TV series. I'm like, man, I just want to watch a 2-hour movie and I just put it all in a 2-hour movie and get your point across and let it.
Well, yeah. Stephen King's influence is really seen now throughout shows like Stranger Things and this Midnight Mass that just came out last year by Mike Flanagan. Oh, that's another TV show that I absolutely love. The Haunting of Hill House. Did you see that?
Oh, yes. That was good. Yeah.
I love that.
I do
one was
too.
Amazing.
I love that one too. I'm not going to lie. I love that one. That was
great.
Good. It's good.
Some other movies I watched was a little indie called The Fear Chamber. Wasn't that great. Nothing to really talk about. I watched a documentary about the Bray Road Beast. The Bray Road Beast. Have you heard of this thing?
No, I don't think so.
It's supposedly real. On Bray Road, some kind of werewolf-like creature. I'm not sure.
Where's Bray Road? Where would that be located? Is that in Tennessee?
It's in Wisconsin.
Wisconsin. Okay.
Yeah, so Bray Road is in Wisconsin. Yeah, it's interesting, just to see the tales of what people are saying about it. I like that sort of stuff, like the Mothman the Mothman thing and everything. Revisited In the Mouth of Madness. Do you like that movie?
Oh my gosh, I just watched that. You have to remind me what it's about because I feel like I just watched it. And it rings a bell, but I have good vibes. I'm like, oh my God, I feel like I just watched this and I liked it. But you have to remind me. I need you to jog my memory.
So it's about Sam Neill. He's working, and so there's this guy who's publishing horror stories, and it's kind of like a Stephen King sort of character. He publishes these horror stories, but these stories are coming to life, and so he goes to investigate to see. Just because he thinks it's all bullshit and it's all like a publicity stunt. So he goes to this place, and the last book that he's written is called In the Mouth of Madness. And when people read it, they go crazy and they start doing all this crazy, insane shit. So then he goes to the place and he finds the author, and all kinds of crazy culty stuff ensues.
I do remember that. I feel like I just watched that one recently, not too long ago.
Yeah.
Even though it's been out forever.
Sure, yeah.
But it was one of those that just kind of come across. I'm like, you gotta check it off your list.
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, it's a good movie. I revisited Alien and Aliens. Alien and Aliens.
Like Alien? Original?
The original, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Really
that's
Scott.
Good, Tom.
And then James Cameron's Aliens, and then I saw a movie I've seen before, but I didn't really remember much about it. One called Skinwalkers. Have you seen this one?
Skinwalkers. That's a Stephen King movie, right?
No, that's called Sleepwalkers, which is a good one.
Sleepwalkers. I do remember that movie, but Skinwalkers
with the kitty cats.
Yep. But Skinwalkers, maybe not.
Yeah, it's about werewolves.
Okay.
It wasn't. To have watched it before and not remembered anything about it. It wasn't too bad. Next movie I watched was X.
I've been trying to watch this movie, but
Holy
it might be
shit.
everyone is talking about it on social media.
I love it. I love it.
I get that same. I've gotten that same response from everyone. They're like, "Bridget, you have got to see this movie."
Yeah. Let me ask you: Are you a Ty West fan though?
Yes.
Okay, so you
The
like
Devil's
his?
House. Yeah.
See, personally, I thought The Devil's House was a little overrated. I liked it, but
I
I thought it
liked
was a
it
little
too. It wasn't
overrated.
my favorite. It wasn't
Mhm.
one of my favorites, but I do like his stuff because he tries to. The Devil's House, it was overrated, but I think he did. And I don't know if X is this way, but I feel like he almost wants to try to take it back to like my childhood, like back to the 80s.
Oh well, no, X is in the 70s, but so I like.
It's even it goes even farther back.
Oh yeah,
Well,
so I like
I'm
the
not
House of
that
the
old, by the
Devil.
way.
Well, I like the House
Putting
of the
that out
Devil.
there.
I like the Innkeeper's okay. I didn't think it was that great. I love the Sacrament. Did you see that one?
I didn't see that one. No.
Oh, that one's great. It's based off the Jim Jones stuff. You know.
Oh wait, I'm writing this one on my list then.
Yeah, I
I
love
need to
that
see.
one. I thought that one was really good. But X is amazing. I loved it. Yeah, it looks just like it came from out of the 70s and looks way more 70s. I know the new Texas Chainsaw wasn't set in the 70s, but you know, to be a sequel to that movie, this looks more like a Texas Chainsaw movie than that movie does. I loved it. It was
Oh.
great. It was great. Oh my God, Mia Goth plays two characters in this movie. Two characters, two of the main characters, and it's just fantastic. She does a great job. Jenna Ortega is in it. She's been in like 3 movies recently that I saw. Brittany Snow, I didn't. She was in like that horrible prom not remake, but she really does a great job in this movie. I loved it. So it's a great discourse on aging. I mean, there's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of layers to this movie X. I thought it's not just like a slasher. There's a lot of really good things that he's saying. I think this is probably his best movie. I personally, for me, I think it's his best movie. So I definitely, whenever you can, recommend that one.
Well, I'm excited about it because every person that I have talked to that has seen the movie is like, Bridget, you have got to see this movie. It is
Yeah.
amazing. I'm like, well, I'm flying home tomorrow for my 10 day. Tomorrow will be 10 days vacation. I got to go back to reality. So maybe that might be a good time to watch X.
There you go. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Next thing I watched was Uma. You know what I'm talking about?
And what's it about?
So it's about this woman and her daughter, and there's like this weird thing about her mother, like spiritual thing of her mother. It's basically like the fear of becoming your mother, because she literally becomes her mother. So it was okay. It was okay. I wouldn't say it's great or anything, but it was okay. Moving on, I watched a couple episodes of the new show called The Baby, which is on HBO. I don't think you're probably gonna like it, but it's a horror comedy.
All right. I'm not gonna lie. We had HBO of JW Marriott, and no, I watched it. I was
okay.
and Tracy had me watch it. He goes, I was like, I don't even know what's going on. This is so dumb. And he was like, it's supposed to be a horror show.
Yeah.
Really? Because I sure as hell can't tell. And he pulled up the picture, and it's like the baby with the shadow of the creepy whatever. And I was like, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
What did you think about the first episode?
It reminds me of there's like that movie with the bad kid. I can't remember. I don't know what the name. I don't know, but there's a movie that it reminds me of about a little kid that kind of causes all kinds of weird, crazy, chaotic shit to happen. I'm assuming the devil's involved somehow. I'm watching it. I mean, I'm not loving it. I'll tell you that.
Same. I'm like, do I need to watch I have no desire to watch the second episode, but damn it, maybe I need to watch it. So I feel like if I watch the second one, I will absolutely determine, yes, I'm going to finish watching it, or nope, I'm done.
Yeah, I'd say you're probably going to be done.
Okay.
Next movie.
Probably.
Next movie I watched was called Ankle Biters.
Oh, okay. No, I've heard of it, but
It's about
I haven't
these
seen it.
this four little girls. Their mother starts going out with this guy, and what happens is that the mother and the guy, they're having like kinky sex, and they videotape it, and the girls see the video of him choking her, and they think that he's bad. It's kind of a little bit of a goodbye mommy kind of good night mommy sort of thing, but it's it's okay. I mean, there's some okay parts. It's not great, but it's kind of funny at times. Yeah, it's called Ankle Biters, and it's also called Cherry Picker. Next thing I watched was an anthology called October Tales, which I think you watched.
That's on my list for this week too. That was one of the things. Like, man, on vacation, I even went back to my and looked it up because it's on YouTube.
So this was made by a guy in Nashville. His name is Chuck, and I think he has Saunterman Productions. And what do you think? I liked a lot of it. I thought I liked the fact that all the shorts are very different. They're very different from each other. You know,
They're
some are
all very different. Some of them better than others.
well, just like any anthology, some is better than others. I really liked the silent one and all those there and kind of in the middle.
I didn't like the silent one. That's probably the one I like the least.
Okay.
Man, I'm too ADHD. I'm just like, I couldn't now remember, I'm on vacation, okay? So I was probably having a real good time that day and I couldn't concentrate. That one was hard. I do remember, I couldn't even tell you what the first one was about. The first one I loved. There's one about with the clown.
Oh yeah,
man! Yeah. I have a thing for clowns, so I really like that one too. But the silent one,
not for you. I just thought it was different. Yeah. I just thought it was different. You don't see a lot of those anymore. You know?
Silent films are hard. The fact that the director pulled that shit off today, man, kudos to him, because most directors today don't have the balls to do that. And hell, most directors don't have the patience to do that. I sure as hell wouldn't. I wouldn't have the patience to act in something like, that would be extremely hard for me. But man, kudos, because, that's the things they used to do back in the day, and it's great. And that's really hard to pull off these days. And I do think that the director did really well pulling all that together at 5 different, I think it was 5. Was it 5 shorts?
I want to say at least 5.
I think it was 5 shorts. They were all so different, and they really all were good. They were different, and I think it's a really good watch for people, for sure.
Yeah, me too. All right. Next, I revisited Vampires, or Vampires as you call them, the 1974 one with the girls,
Oh, good.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
That's a revisit. It's
a revisit. Yeah, revisit. Hadn't seen it in a while. Next thing I saw was the first time I watched was Murder Set Pieces. Have you seen this movie?
Oh my gosh. Wait, tell me what's about, because yes, I think so.
It's about this guy. Well, he's a German. He's kind of a Nazi, but he's in America. But anyway, he kidnaps these girls. He's got a girlfriend, and her sister is kind of leery of this guy. But he's also a photographer. He's taking pictures of all these girls. He gets them naked, and then he kills them. That's pretty much it.
Yes. For some reason, I thought maybe he was like a movie director or something.
No, he's a photographer. But it has Tony Todd's in it, has Gunnar Hansen in it, has Ed McNeil, the hitchhiker guy from Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
I have seen this, and it's a damn good movie.
He's the hitchhiker in Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and in this movie, he's picking up a hitchhiker. That's pretty ingenious right there.
I never thought of that. That is so funny. Wow, that is so funny. No, that's a good one though.
I liked it, but I didn't really, because this is on the hardcore horror list. I didn't think it was that hardcore though. I mean,
oh no, gosh, no, that's definitely not. No,
I mean,
that's not hardcore.
I mean, there's a lot of nudity, there's a lot of blood, but there really isn't any kills shown. Most of the kills are off screen, and there's really not really a lot of gore or anything. So I didn't really feel like it was hardcore. But again, that's just my perception. But yeah, I mean, it was pretty good. Next was a revisit of the Slumber Party Massacre. Then I watched a documentary, direct to video, straight to video horror of the 90s. That one's on Tubi. I recommend that one. That's a good one. Of all the 90s horror.
Okay.
Shudder has a movie called The Broadcast Signal Intrusion. I watched that one. It was an okay movie, but there's a lot of plot holes to that thing, and it was a little boring. It had definitely some boring parts. Not a lot of action to that movie. Next up, Joe Bob Briggs is back. I checked out the first episode of season 4 of Joe Bob's show, and they were hosting Night of the Living Dead and Anthropophagus. Have you seen that movie?
I have not seen it, but it's funny that you're talking about it because I just visited this new place in Savannah that was opened up by Ryan Grayface. He has Grayface Museum, and he's had a record store, Grayface Records, and he just opened up a movie place where they actually sell like all horror VHSs, DVDs, and Blu-rays.
Nice.
And it's called TerrorVision. And I saw that movie there, and I remember asking Tracy, I was like, "Have you seen this movie?" Because there was a lot of hype about it. I never saw it, but I remember there being a lot of hype about it. So I'm curious your thoughts.
Well, this is actually my second I think it's my third watch of the movie.
Okay.
Well, I like the movie, and there are a couple of scenes that I think are like cool, or there's a couple of gory scenes and stuff. But overall, I think it's a little overhyped. I think it's pretty slow. It's pretty boring at times. Yeah, I don't think it's great. But I mean, there are a couple of scenes, yes, that are worth checking out for, but it's not. I don't think it's fantastic. No.
I think that was kind of the marketing behind it. Like they built so much hype. Yeah. And when you have like really hardcore fans like us, we watch it and we're like,
I want to talk about that in just a little bit, but
oh, good, okay.
but yeah, I mean, I'll say, I think one of those things is it was one of those movies that got censored back in the day and was on the nasties list and stuff like that. So that kind of, that gives it that reputation and people want to check it out. But I just don't think it's, it's not like a Cannibal Holocaust or, some of those things that, really are even more extreme than this for sure. So the next movie I watched was a 2002 French movie called In My Skin. Have you heard of this one?
In My Skin. No, but that has been on my list for like ever. Well, is this your first watch? Is this your first watch?
This is my first watch, and it's on YouTube if you want to watch it.
Okay.
Well, sometimes it's so bad to say that a movie isn't good because of the ending, because it was actually really good until the ending. So it's about this woman who is she's at work. She's at a work party. And she goes outside and she falls and she cuts her leg on some metal and she kind of cuts it up pretty good, right? Mm-hmm. And so she kind of gets obsessed with this wound, and she starts picking at it, and then she starts kind of just getting into self-mutilation, and then she starts getting into self-cannibalism, and then she starts like picking off her flesh and trying to save it. I mean, it's all pretty cool. And there's a lot of plot points and stuff into the movie, and I was really enjoying it, and then it just ended. So there is no real ending, and it kind of set all this stuff up and went nowhere, and that's the only downfall to the movie, because it was a good idea, and it was executed really well. Again, they just were like, I don't know if they're like, well, we're done. We have nowhere to go with this, so we take a bow.
I hate movies that do that. And look, I hope our listeners out there, you have someone who's directing movies and acting, and you got your gal over here that's acting. Look, when you build us up in a horror movie, don't disappoint us in the end. Finish it.
Yeah.
Do it all.
Yeah.
I mean, but maybe in the director's mind, maybe that's what the director wanted. I don't know, but
maybe
it's always disappointing. It's always disappointing to me too.
I mean, look, there's a such thing as ambiguous endings where you're like, I don't know which way is what and what. But this one it literally set up all these plots, and it did not execute any of them. So it's like, what happens? I don't know. So anyway, that's all the horror that I watched.
That's In My Skin, right?
Yeah, In My Skin. Yeah, that's all the
There's
horror.
there's a movie that I watched that I've been trying to get Tracy to watch forever, and it just seems to never work out.
Mhm.
One, it's in subtitles, and he has a hard time with that. But it's similar. The title is so similar. At first, it took me a minute to realize, no, that's not the movie you're talking about. It's Antonio Banderas. It's The Skin I Live In.
Yeah, I love that movie. That's a great movie.
God, I fucking love that movie. I've only seen it one time, and I want to go. I want to go back and revisit it, and I've been trying to get Tracy to watch it, and it never works out.
Yeah, that's a good one.
That is damn good. Oh, thank you. I'm gonna make him listen to this podcast because he needs to recognize.
Yeah.
Yeah. But keep going.
And these aren't horror though. But I watched after our last podcast. I watched The Day After, the one that Joel Graves was talking about, saying it was the movie that scared the shit out of him. Yeah. So I watched that, and I couldn't really find it anywhere, so I found it on YouTube. So it's there if you want to watch it. It's 2 hours long. It's 83 or something like that. The first hour is pretty slow. It's pretty I know you have a hard time with some of those, but it's pretty slow burn. It's just setting up the characters and stuff. But after the first hour, then it gets into all the stuff, and I'll have to say I liked it. It was very distraught, and very sad to say that it's more poignant now probably than it was back in '83 with all these new threats that we have, Yeah, and so I think everybody should watch it now. I think it should be either remade or replayed because it's definitely something that is very current. It's very current. But you just see the fall. I mean, it's really, and it says it at the end. It said, actually, if this really happened, it would be way more destruction than what we're showing here. And it's true because, it basically is like it demolishes this whole town, but then there's the fallout of all these other towns around it and the radiation, these people just deteriorating with no food and everything else. And I mean, to imagine that happening in real life it is pretty scary. So I can see how, like, I did not watch it when it first came out. I'm pretty sure I do not remember it, but I can see how that would scare the crap out of you, especially back in the Cold War. Yeah,
and today with
but now, yes,
everything going on.
Yes, it's sad to say, but history doesn't really learn from the lessons of the past. So
maybe that might be a good movie for you to recreate and direct.
Okay,
I'm just throwing it out there.
You start. I mean, you can either be the main person or the bomb. Which one do you want to be?
Well, maybe I should watch the movie first. So
okay.
I'll tell you what I'll do.
Okay. Some other things I watched with some documentaries. I watched the John Wayne Gacy documentary that was by Joe Berlinger, who was the guy who directed Blair Witch 2 I was telling you about. He also did the one with Ted Bundy too. Also did one called Captive Audience. That one's about this guy named Stephen Stragner and his brother Corey Stragner. Stephen Stragner was the guy who was abducted but he finally got away from his captives. They made a movie about him. This is real life, by the way, called My Name is Steve. They made a movie about him and everything. But then later on in life, his brother became a serial killer. Interesting. Yeah.
Like all that's for real.
All that's for
real.
I
know the story about him.
Yeah, it's called
his brother become a serial killer.
Sure did. Yeah.
And what's this called?
It's called Captive Audience.
Where can we find Captive Audience?
That's on Hulu.
Oh, on Hulu. Okay, I have Hulu. All right. Okay.
I watched the Marilyn Monroe documentary. I watched this other documentary on HBO. It's called The Way Down. Have you seen this?
I don't think so.
So this is actually part 2. I watched part 1 a while back. This is about the Remnant Fellowship Church. Do you know who I'm talking about? It's over in Brentwood. So this is crazy. Look, I used to live in Bellevue, which was like literally like a few minutes from Brentwood, right?
Yeah, Brentwood's in Williamson County, and I live in Nolensville, which is also Williamson County. Like Brentwood is like 5 minutes down the street. Yeah. Right.
Well, technically Bellevue is Davidson, but it's like right there. It's right on the edge.
Yeah.
So,
for sure.
Yeah, like I got to that. You could go there like in no time. Anyway, that's where the church is located. Anyway, this Gwen Shamlin was her name. She was, and it's a cult. And I'm fascinated with cults. I'll tell you that. I'm fascinated with groupthink. All these people that will do these things, I find it very interesting because I really don't know how that happens.
I do. I do too. I won't get into it right now because you're telling me about this movie, but same.
Yeah,
I do too. Like the Jim Jones, probably every documentary. So when you tell me there's like a movie,
yes, I've seen it.
Craziness.
Sacrament. I mean, they've changed the names. It doesn't say Jim Jones, but it is based on that. So the names have changed in Sacrament, but that it is based on that time. So that. But I do recommend that. The Way Down. It's on HBO. It's right in your backyard. You're gonna be like, what? It's crazy, and the stuff that she led these people to do and got them to believe is crazy. It's outlandish.
So I've watched a lot of documentaries about her, and she's pretty evil. I mean, just how you can manipulate someone.
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand the brainwashing. I'm sorry. Brainwashing is such a thing right now, especially with all the politics, and you don't even have to be a serial killer. You don't even have to even kill someone. You make other people do. When you can brainwash someone to go and do the things that people do, I mean, master manipulator. I'm just saying. It's the craziest thing to me. That's all I can say is they're master manipulators.
Yeah. I mean, and it never ends. You think that in today's society, people would have learned from the past. Again, nobody does. Because, I mean, again, this happened. The church is still there. She's not. She died. But the church is still there. It's still going on. And then, that Nexium, that cult that happened just recently. I mean, it's crazy. But, yeah, these things are always popping up. So I'm always interested in that sort of stuff. And so I would definitely recommend that, especially since it's right in your backyard.
Pretty much. Yeah, it totally is. It totally is.
The last thing I watched was spent a lot of my time was this box set of George Carlin. It's like 10 discs of George Carlin, all of his HBO specials and stuff. I'm a huge George Carlin fan, so I love all his stuff. So that's all I've been watching. I know that's a lot. What have you been watching?
So I've been on vacation and I haven't watched a lot.
Sure.
We've talked about a couple things I've watched, which is October Tales. We've already talked about that one.
Yeah.
And I will tell you one that I had never seen, never even heard of, had no idea. It's not even a new movie out, but it was called Home Sweet Hell.
Sure.
Have you seen that one?
Yeah, with the guy from The Conjuring. We're talking about?
Yes.
Kind of a horror comedy.
I mean, I was like, holy shit! There's lots of gore. I mean, it was kind of funny.
Right.
I enjoyed it. That was good. October was really good, which we already talked about that one. We talked about The Baby. I watched that one. I've already said my opinion. I just don't. I'm not on board yet. I just thought, I'll try it, and all right, I'm not on board with that one yet. I can't even tell you anything else that I've watched because I've been on vacation and I've been going out every night. I will tell you that I did visit TerraVision in Savannah here, and they have all these cool Blu-rays and VHSs, like horror VHSs. There's like a whole freaking shelf of them. I was like a damn kid in a candy store. I loved it. I mean, I'm the weirdo that went down by each damn movie. Okay, let me see. And they're all enough, but I mean, it was great. It was the greatest thing. But I did buy a couple movies. I don't even own a VHS player. I'm not a VHS collector.
I was about to ask you that.
Are you like a lot of film collectors? They do the VHSs, and I don't.
I mean, I have a VHS player. Yes, I do have a few tapes. Do I collect them? No, I I can't get into that hipster ideology of that sort of stuff because to me, like the quality of a VHS is pretty bad. You know, it's not like a record.
Okay, so
There's
same.
there,
I'm in the same boat, and it's Misfits based out. They're based out of Jolton, which is an hour outside of Nashville, but it's this really cool oddities. It's the weirdest thing. I was like a kid in a candy store, and we're talking an hour outside of Nashville in Jolton, this place called Misfits. This guy has it's a storage. You're going into a storage facility. He's got like 4 storages,
oh,
and it's all weird shit.
cool.
When I say weird shit, I'm talking like shit that we love.
Mhm.
I'm like antiques, oddities, apothecary, horror. I mean, just all this crazy stuff. And I'm an apothecary collector. I collect bottles and antiques.
Yeah.
And he was like, "You got any of them horror VHSs?" And I was like, "Yeah, I have a bunch." He's like, "I'm looking for them. I can't find them." I'm like, "Holy shit." So I'm going around my house, like scooping them up because I have no use for them. I don't even
Well,
own a VHS player, but
well, I've got a couple that because they like the night Stephen King's The Night Flyer. I have that on VHS. I don't think they ever released it on DVD or Blu-ray. Fright Night Part 2. I don't think that was ever. I think it's a mod. There's a mod release. I don't think there was ever official release of that as well. So there's a few that I've kept over time. But yeah, I sold and got rid of most of my VHS collection. I used to have a few boxes full, but there's not a whole lot that I have now.
I still have a couple boxes of them just because it was those movies that literally they've been sitting in a box because I have nothing to do with them. But I definitely have a couple boxes. I'm like, hell yeah, I'll go trade them out. But anyways, Misfits in Jolton, Tennessee. It is a fun, crazy experience. You go into an old ass storage place, and the guys rented 4 of them out and turn them into like one big store.
Right.
Crazy
cool.
ass fun place. But anyways,
Very cool.
so TerrorVision, I did buy 2 Blu-rays.
Okay.
One, every horror fan has hopefully seen this movie. It's one of my favorites, but I don't own it. I saw it. I had to buy it. It's Suspiria.
Yeah. Very cool.
I fucking love Suspiria. It's it's not for everyone, but the colors, oh my God, it's so good. The colors in it, I think, really gets me. But
yes,
just the cinematography, I love. The other movie that I bought, I've never seen it on Blu-ray. I think maybe the first time I streamed it might have been on Netflix, but it's called The Devil's Candy. Have you seen that?
I have. Yes, I love it.
I love that. I feel like that movie's kind of underrated.
Yes.
No one ever really talked about it.
Yep.
Ethan Embry, I love Ethan Embry as an actor.
Yeah.
God, I've been watching him. He's the exact same age as I am. So I've been watching him for years. I mean, because he's been acting since he was a child. But for him to see him in this movie in this different role with the long hair, I was like, God, it was so good. And I do feel like, we're hardcore horror. I do feel like they pushed some limits in that movie. My mom is a secret horror film person. Oh my God, she'd be so pissed if she knew that I was talking about her. My mom is kind of my inspiration. She absolutely loves horror movies. It was like our thing growing up, just her and I. After my brother and sister moved out, I'm the baby. We'd sit and watch horror movies like all night together. My dad hates horror movies, so it's like my mom and I, it was our thing. And she would never admit it to anyone. She's this sweet Christian, sweet little lady. And my mom is some hardcore horror. I'm serious. But that one, I had both my parents. I talked to them and I was like, I'm going to cook you guys dinner. I got a movie for you to watch. And I streamed it when it was like really big. Yeah. And my mom was like, I don't know. I don't like the killing of the children. I don't like it. And I was like, oh wow, I kind of pushed my mom's buttons on that one. But
Yeah.
the ending was satisfying.
Absolutely. Yes.
It was good enough for me to go out and buy the movie. So hey, any of the listeners, if you have not seen Devil's Candy, man, it's a good one. Check it out.
Absolutely. And Ethan Embry, he also was in an episode of The Masters of Horror season 1.
No shit.
Yeah, it was called The Incident on and Off Mountain Road, I think it was called. No. Yeah, I think it was called. Really good, really good.
Ethan Embry, like you would not think of him as a horror person, but he was also. This is kind of a turn off for me on this movie. I watched it one damn time and I never saw it again because I couldn't think of him as a horror person. But he was in, I feel like it was called Vacancy. Vacancy. He was Vacancy. He was one. There was two killers.
Oh,
in,
yeah.
you know, a hotel.
Kate Beckinsale and Luke Wilson.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
And Ethan Embry was in that, and he was one of the killers.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And Luke Wilson, let's just be real. I mean, you got two guys. I watched it one time and checked it off my list, and I never watched it again. I was like, yeah, Luke Wilson and Ethan Embry is serial killers. I don't know. But Ethan Embry with that long damn hair, I'm like, I'm not going to lie. I mean, this is a good movie. It was good enough for me to go out and buy for my collection. I'll give it that.
Sure. Awesome. All right, I got one more thing I want to talk about, and we'll get to the music.
Okay.
So you mentioned this earlier, talking about how, like, as horror fans, we sometimes get our hopes up too high and then kind of get, shot down or let down because it just wasn't up to par what we thought it was going to be, right?
Yeah.
Well, so with that said, it's really hard to critique anything, like as far as even critics and stuff when they delve into a movie. It's like, well, that's where they are in their life. But does that really mean the movie sucks or the movie's great or whatever? Because it really depends on where you are in your journey when it comes to stuff like that. And I thought, I've been thinking about this, like we were talking about Blair Witch and how we liked Blair Witch, but we didn't really like Paranormal Activity. But if you were young and you didn't know what Blair Witch was and you saw Paranormal Activity, maybe you thought, oh my God, it's amazing, just wherever you are on your journey, that kind of thing. Because like last podcast when Joel was talking about Martyrs, he was talking about Martyrs, and I feel like we kind of beefed it up a little bit until he watched it. It's kind of like, whatever, it is what it is, right? But I think if he hadn't known anything about it and he just sat down one night to watch a movie and, this movie is Martyrs, and he checked it out, he probably would have been like, whoa, that's pretty crazy, right? Maybe, maybe not. Maybe not. Again, and it just depends on your journey, where you are. Again, I watched it as soon as it came out. So I feel like that sort of experience, like I feel like sometimes we are our own worst enemies. I mean, you can leave it up to like I don't read reviews. I never read a review before I watch a movie. Every now and then I will after if I'm curious, but I would never read one before I went to watch a movie. I don't care what people think about it. I want to form my own opinion. But I mean, as far as like taking suggestions, watch this movie, it's pretty cool. And or if somebody says to you, this movie is awesome, and then you go in and you're like, it wasn't awesome. I was hoping it was going to be awesome. And sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't. But sometimes I feel like we get our expectations up so high that we get let down about the whole situation. So remember, was it last podcast I was talking about the exorcism of God? Remember? Mm-hmm. And I didn't love the exorcism of God. I just liked it because I went in with the lowest expectations you could absolutely have because I don't like exorcism films, right? Mm-hmm. So going in thinking I was going to completely hate it, but I liked it. Man, I liked it, but I think that that might have come off as I thought it was amazing, but I didn't. But I liked it. I liked the kind of story that progressed after the priest got possessed and what he did. I thought that was just interesting, never been done before. I mean, but anyway, so the Horror Basement guys, I knew they watched the movie, and I don't know if I have anything to do with that or not, but they watched the movie, and I did listen to the review, and they didn't like it. They're like, yeah. So I wondered if maybe they did hear me because I think they listen to this podcast, and I think they might have been like, oh well, maybe that's a good one. Let's check it out. And they go, fucking suck. You know?
That is funny. I haven't heard that one, but that is. Oh no, they'll tell you how it is. But no, I'm like you. I'm like you. Where I'm different. I read reviews, but however, I still like to form my own opinion. There are so many movies that I love that other people hate.
Mm-hmm.
I love them because shit, they're fucking good, and other people, hate them for whatever reasons. But I do like to try to form my own opinion, and I don't give a shit what anybody else thinks about my opinion because it's my own.
Well, yeah, sometimes it's
And
personal. Sometimes you form a personal connection to a movie, or you personally don't like a movie for
right,
whatever reasons.
or it might even be the actor. You might love one particular actor.
Possibly, yeah.
There's different things, and there's Tennessee Gothic's a good example. A lot of people didn't like it. The first time I watched it, it was so damn different. It's considered a horror movie, but it's. Have you seen Tennessee Gothic?
No.
Oh shit, we got to check that off your list. Then I thought it was great that when I walked in TerrorVision that they actually had a copy of Tennessee Gothic there, but it's Jeff Whitting, and Katie. What's Katie's Kershaw? Tracy's acted with Katie several times, and no, they've done a few things, and I had a lot of hopes going into it, but it's comedy, it's horror comedy, but hey, you appreciate it for what it is. Oh my God. The first time I watched it, I was like, I even told Jeff when I met him for the first time, I was like, yeah, I was trying to figure out if I was watching a horror movie or a porno. Because there is more sex in that movie than shit. I mean, there's a lot of sex in that movie.
Okay.
I mean, a lot of sex, but the movie itself is good. It was filmed in Nashville. There's a lot of Nashville references, and I personally appreciate that because I'm a Nashville native. And that's one thing that I love about the movie, and a lot of people, didn't like it, but no, I absolutely love it. But it's all about personal opinions, and I do like to form my own opinion about movies before, I listen to anything. But I'm lame. I do read reviews, but that doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean anything.
Well, I just can't do it. I can't read a review of anything before the movie. Like, I don't want to hear anything about it. I'll watch trailers and stuff, and a lot of times trailers give everything away, unfortunately. But I want to be surprised to a certain extent with the movies, I just think that it's really hard. We have, like, everybody's a movie critic, really, and so we want to give our opinions about them, but our opinions are really just our own. But so it's really hard to be like, okay, I mean, look at The Shining and The Thing. Those weren't well received when they came out. We love them today; they're beloved. But back then they weren't. And who knows? 20 years from now, they may be hated. They may be put on some nasty list for who knows what a reason it would be. But anyway, that's all that rant is. You got anything else? If not, I've got movie or Melody Macabre.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's roll with it.
All right, let's run through these real quick. All right, 3 songs. We're going with a little punkish kind of feel tonight. You ready?
I'm ready.
All right. All right.
I feel like I've heard this before. I feel like is it from a 90s movie?
I don't think so.
Oh shit. I thought I was on to something.
I don't think so. So the song is called "She's My Vampire Girl." It actually could be in a movie. I'm not going to say it's not. I mean, it very well could be in movies. I just don't know of any, but it very well could be. 90s, I don't think so. I think this came out in the 2000s. It's called, anyway, the song's called "She's My Vampire Girl," and the band is called Groovy Ghoulies.
Oh.
Groovy Ghoulies,
right.
which is based off of that TV show, cartoon Groovy Ghoulies back in the day.
Okay.
So how I found out about these guys was, it was years ago, back in Bowling Green. There used to be a little venue called Diggler's there, and that's where I saw them there. But they're from California. But anyway, they have a lot of very very Ramones-ish, punk rockish stuff, but some of it is about horror.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so fun. I love it. Okay.
All right, here is the next one.
There's a girl across the street from me. I buried her son beneath the tree. I don't know why she's mad at me. He was sticking up my garage, you see. Love, I met a cute boy, he liked my smile. We fell in love for a little while. He kissed me on the lips and it tasted sweet. So I chopped him into pieces and cooked his meat. We call that brisket here in Texas, don't we?
All right.
So I wanted to get up and dance
Yeah.
to that one. It reminds me of like a 90s cartoon.
The song is called "Be My Friend," and it is by a band called One Eyed Doll. All I can say is you probably just need to watch the video. It's really funny. It's cute. It's got all these horror icons. She's killing them all and stuff, and it's pretty cute. It's on YouTube, but yeah, I don't think they're together anymore. But they did a few horror-based songs as well. So
And what's it called again? Because I want to look it up.
the song is called "Be My Friend," and the band is One Eyed Doll.
Okay, One Eyed Doll.
Yep.
Okay, I want to check that out.
And here is the last thing. I got a score for you. You ready?
Okay, I'm ready.
All right.
Man, it sounds like, I could be wrong. It sounds like something from either like Nightmare Before Christmas or Coraline.
Okay.
Am I close?
No.
Corpse's Bride.
No, you're not close.
Okay. I am all over Tim Burton right now, I guess. I mean, that's what it sounded like to me, but I mean, all I heard was, it was just the score. There's no, there wasn't any lyrics or anything. So,
Right.
So what's it from?
Well, that's one of the themes
Okay.
by Philip Glass. Philip
Okay.
Glass did the music, and that was one of the themes. And it's called "It Was Always You, Helen," and that is from Candyman.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay, cool. All right.
Yeah.
No, I actually liked it. I thought it. No, I thought it was really good. That was great.
The original Candyman, of course.
Yeah,
Not
I figured that. I had no idea. That's one of those that I feel like I need to revisit. I haven't seen in
Okay.
20
Candyman?
years maybe.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, you
the
have to.
original.
Oh, I love it. It's one of my favorite. It's that Scream's probably the best two slashers of the '90s. I love it. I think it's great.
I'm not gonna lie. I haven't seen it since it originally come out.
Oh, definitely worth a rewatch. I watched it a few months ago. I mean, it's just great. Great.
Okay, I'm
That's all
gonna
I
put
got
that on
for
my
you.
watch list.
Sure.
Hey, that's all I have too, man. I'm gonna enjoy the rest of my Savannah trip in my
Very
haunted
cool.
hotel.
Yes, excellent.
If anything crazy happens tonight,
Record it. Do some ghost hunting. Record it.
Oh,
Okay, I
I
want
totally
proof.
will.
I want proof.
Oh
this
no, we're gonna like take you out somewhere. We got to get you out, and I'm gonna put you in a room by yourself in like a creepy ass hotel, and then tell me if you become a believer or not. It'd be my luck. I'd put you in the creepiest, the most haunted place ever, and you wouldn't have shit happen. But no, we're gonna turn you into a believer. But no, I totally will record it. I have I'll post it up. I've got some pictures from last year staying when Tracy and I first stayed in this bed and breakfast. We had some pretty crazy things happen, and I do have pictures. I do have proof on pictures. I will post
cool.
them up. A lot of people's asked me recently, but I'll post those up. So be on the lookout for that. And anything crazy happens tonight, stay tuned.
That's very cool. So next, I think the 14th, I'm going to be at FrankenCon, this con over here close to Knoxville, and check it out. It's the first annual thing of it, so we'll see how that goes. Anything else you got going on?
I think that's about it.
Okay. So I wanted to tell people that if they did have any comments or suggestions or questions for us, they could get a hold of us, right? There is the Facebook page, the Hardcore Horror with Mike and Brigitte Facebook page. There's also, they could probably get a hold of us on Instagram if that's your thing. We don't have an Instagram, but we are through the podcast network of the Tennessee Horror Podcast Network, so they could get a hold of us on there. And where else can they find us?
Yeah, for sure. I think I'll post up we have our QR code now, which will pretty much take you to everything.
We have a QR code. If they really wanted to email us, so we have that email. It's hardcorehorrorpod@gmail.com. So if anybody has anything they want to say or any suggestions or anything, any hate mail.
Hey man, I'm all about it. Look, if you guys got questions or you want us to talk about something, bring it. We love it. We love comments. We love questions and suggestions. We're all about it, right?
Absolutely. Sounds good.
Yeah.
All right. Until next time, Brigitte. Stay spooky, but stay hardcore.
Hardcore.
All right.
All
Talk to you later. Bye.
Bye.
Wow. That's hardcore.
Nothing harder.